Any area that you can point to where India has been very successful as far as economic diplomacy is concerned?
The dollar rupee exchange rate has gone from 80 to 90 plus in 3 years.
Of India approximately, but it has got much bigger or greater economic, strategic and diplomatic heft than India.
And why it is known as restoration, Meiji Restoration? What is Meiji?
May I come in, sir?
Aye, please come in.
Good morning, sir. Good morning,
Welcome and have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Make yourself comfortable.
Thank
with
you
your back with the chair.
Thank you, sir.
And tell us about yourself. Give a detailed thing about your name also.
Right.
Polavarapu Dhwanish.
Yes, sir. Sir, my name is Polavarapu Dhwanish. Good name is Dhwanish. Surname is Polavarapu. Sir, I was born in Delhi, raised in Gurugram. I've done my schooling from Gurugram only. After that, I did my graduation from Hindu College, Delhi University. I did BSc Maths honors over there. After completing my graduation, sir, I worked for a couple of years, first at a startup, then at a social impact consulting firm. This is my third attempt at civil services examination and second personality test. In my free time, sir, I like to listen to podcasts and like to go for walks. Okay.
Good. Are you a South Indian?
So my father is from Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah, it's a Telugu. That is why this Polarapu.
Yes, sir.
Good. Why do you want to join IAS?
Sir, although opportunity to serve in any services would be a great privilege, but my first preference is
But
foreign services.
why services at all? You are so qualified, and Andhra Naidu is so keen to have professionals.
Sir, I think the scale of impact that we can create through civil services is immense, and it provides one of the best opportunities to actually create social impact and bring about change at granular level. So that is the reason why, and also the diversification that the career provides. This is the reason.
Professor.
Well, you tell me, student of economics,
Yes, sir.
what do you understand by economic diplomacy? Have you heard of this term?
Yes, sir. I've heard of this.
You have heard. What is the meaning? Can you explain it? How you would explain it to a layman?
Sir, economic diplomacy talks about building relationships between countries pertaining to topics or issues that are economic based, that may entail employment, trade, exchange of goods and services between countries, etc.
So, is it an important priority for India today?
Yes, sir, I would say so.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Give me some example.
So, for example, right now there is a lot of global volatility regarding tariffs, increasing protectionism. Amidst this, economic diplomacy becomes very important for us by negotiating free trade agreements, engaging in people-to-people agreements, opening up borders, exploring opportunities for convergence, like we did recently with Russia as well, sir.
Any area that you can point to where India has been very successful as far as economic diplomacy is concerned?
Sir, I think by maintaining strategic autonomy, we've managed to protect our interest economically between different powers. Like, for example, we've managed to have a relationship with US and at the same time get cheaper oil imports from Russia. So this strategic autonomy and maneuvering for economic interest has been particularly successful for us.
Okay. You know, recently Pakistan carried out some major reform in the military and in their court. Now tell me, what was the major reform in the military?
So they've created a position for Chief of Defense of all armed forces. I'm forgetting the exact term.
Chief of Defense Force.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That is one. And secondly, sir, there was also the awarding of Field Marshal to General Asim Munir. And there has also been a reform about a Chief of Defense Forces being above reproachment from courts.
So they have a chief of defense force.
Yes, sir.
India also has one chief of defense staff.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between the two?
Sir, it is, I think, based particularly on executive forces. So their Chief of Defense Force actually has control over all three forces. Here, Chief of Defense Staff is the first among equal principal. He's also a 4-star general, but it doesn't mean that he's the chief of all armed forces in India.
Okay, thank you.
Dhwanish, you have studied maths in college
Yes, sir.
and chosen economics as an optional paper.
Yes, sir.
Will you have any formal training in economics before taking up this subject?
Yes, sir. I read economics as my general elective subject for 4 semesters in college, and that is when I developed an interest for it.
During your BSc?
Yes, sir.
Acha, economics was one of the papers.
Economics was one of my elective subjects, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The RBI comes out with a monetary policy. After a monetary policy committee, they come out with some recommendations.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain something about it? And recently also there was some, please explain about it.
Yes, sir. So they've reduced the repo rate once again. So they've cut the repo rate by 25 base points. In addition to this, they've also announced the decision of purchase of government securities to inject liquidity in the market. And thirdly, sir, they've also announced the decision of dollar-rupee swaps again for injecting liquidity and stabilizing rupee fall. So these are the 3 major announcements made.
What do you mean by this reducing the repo rate? What is a repo rate?
Sir, repo rate is essentially the rate at which central bank lends to the banks. So if we are reducing repo rate, we are making borrowing cheaper, and it would drive up investment activity and borrowing activity in the economy. So that is the primary reason why decrease in repo rate is conducted.
How do they come to this decision? What are the key factors influencing this decision?
Right, sir. So there are a host of factors. One could be growth rate in the economy, the latest quarterly growth rates. So we've managed to achieve 8.2% growth rate. Then secondly, the prevailing inflation rate in the economy, what is the prevailing inflation rate and how the price level is generally faring. Beyond this, sir, it could also be liquidity conditions overall in the economy. So these are the 3 factors that I can think of.
The dollar-rupee exchange rate,
Yes, sir.
has gone from 80 to 90 plus
Yes, sir.
in 3 years.
Yes, sir.
What could be the reasons, and is this exchange rate increase a good sign for the economy, or it's not a good sign?
Sir, coming to the first part of the question, there can be a host of factors. In this particular case, this fall in rupee has been triggered by large FPI outflow, foreign portfolio investment outflow. Of lately, gold imports have also surged in the economy, so that can be also a reason why rupee value has been depreciating. Beyond this, sir, general non-oil and non-gold imports have also increased in the recent past. So we would see that as a contributing factor towards rupee slide. Whether or not it is good for the economy, I would say, sir, that in this particular case, it is good for the economy because it is making our exports more competitive amidst the tariff that has been imposed on us. And because the inflation rate is within controlled range of 2.2%, so as long as the rupee slide is not triggering an inflation spiral in the economy, I think we are good to go, and it would be it would have positive effects on our exports only, sir.
But won't our imports become very expensive?
Yes, sir. There is a chance of our imports becoming more expensive, and it could trigger an inflation spiral in the future. But right now, I think, as our RBI governor also pointed out, we are in the Goldilocks zone.
What is this Goldilocks zone? I heard it for the first time.
This was also a new term that I read it near this recently.
What does it mean?
Sir, particularly in the economic context, it meant, sir, that inflation rate is low while growth rate is very high. So that means it is like growth rate is primarily the growth can be attributed to actual increase in goods and services production rather than increase in prices only. So that is the Goldilocks.
Okay.
You have mentioned that here that you have first prize Hansraj College Business Case Study Competition.
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful because it's very, very competitive, this thing, and you got first prize. I'm giving you a case study. Analyze it, but unfortunately, don't have more than 30 seconds.
Okay.
Russia has got just half of the GDP of India, approximately,
Right.
but it has got much bigger or greater economic, strategic, and diplomatic heft than India.
Right.
So, what is the reason for this?
So the reasons can be several. Number one is the natural resource repository that Russia has. Russia has a very wide repository of oil and natural gas reserves.
Okay.
That automatically makes it a strategic power.
One.
Number two is, sir, its geographical location. It is very close to the Arctic Sea, which again has 30% of our unexplored oil and natural gas reserves. So that is two. Thirdly, sir, the territorial expanse that Russia has, it is the largest country geographically. So that automatically makes it a neighbor for several territorial neighbor for several countries, and it is also a country that is lying between Asia and Europe. So by virtue of its geographic presence, it becomes a strategic force.
And you would not count in technological head start that it had during the Cold War years.
Yes, sir, 100%. Yes, sir.
Does it count as well?
Yes, sir. As we know, Russia was the successor state for USSR. So it also inherited a lot of military technology from its Soviet era days. So definitely, yes, sir. Technology.
Only military technology. Look at space technology.
Space also, sir. Nuclear also. In fact,
Exactly.
Russia,
so
yes,
it
sir.
goes on and on and
Yes,
on.
sir. 100%. I agree, sir.
Anyway, that's good enough analysis. There is another interesting thing has happened. You might have heard about the Council on Energy, Environment and Water that is headed by Mr. Amitabh Kant. You might have heard of Mr. Amitabh Kant, the Sherpa who was
Yes,
at the
sir.
time of the G20.
G20.
This committee has said something very interesting. This committee has said that by 2047, India can unlock, or rather could attract nearly $4 trillion of investment, and there could be 12 million the jobs could be created solely due to the green economy. So in terms of technology, in terms of the research, in terms of the new opportunities, it's too optimistic to be true. Like a layman, it appeared to me. But when I was reading that report, it looked nearly possible. So how possibly the green economy can unlock such opportunities and economic opportunity for a country like India?
Sir, I'm not aware exactly of the how they got to that number, but
you can use your own reflexes, intellectual reflexes, and then
overall, I do believe, sir, yes, green economy has a lot of potential. Number one, in terms of generating green energy. So if we are transitioning into renewable energy, solar energy, wind, tidal, etc., that transition only will trigger a lot of job creation in terms of component creation, solar energy, power plant operations, etc. Beyond this, ancillary industries would also develop because of repair and maintenance that these jobs would also create.
Our technological pool of the experts.
Yes, sir.
Do you think it's an asset as well?
Yes, sir, 100%. I think it would also trigger R&D activity in the country as well. So that would also have spillover effects in other industries.
That will do. Thank you.
Tell me, there are two line of thinking that are emerging about Indian economy. On the one side, you have a GDP growth rates, some of the highest,
yes, sir.
Q1, Q2. On the other side, government of India is forced to raise the demand. Two things I can mention is income tax exemption limits have been increased twice, 23 and then 20 after 24, now 12 lakhs. The other side is GST reduction in rates. So does it go together? On the one side, we are trying to raise up the demand so that the GDP does well. And on one side, you have already a good growth.
Yes, sir. I think that also sounded paradoxical to me. But when I read about what were the immediate trigger points for high growth rates, then that's when the situation became clear. So coming to the first 2 quarter growth rates, the growth rate was particularly impressive because of a lot of front loading of exports that had happened amidst the tariff concerns. And just to sustain this growth rate, sir, we need to expand our consumption activities also, because India is a primarily consumption-led
And
economy.
Q2,
Sir, I'm sorry, exactly.
because Q2 also it has in fact higher than the Q1. Okay, that is one reason. But what about then where is the deficiency in demand?
Sir, I think overall demand, we need to increase our demand because we know for a fact that after the tariffs, foreign markets are probably not as appealing to us, and we will definitely take an export hit. So just to compensate for it or to offset that particular effect, it is important that we increase our domestic consumption as well, considering we have the world's largest domestic market. So I think one of the reasons why this policy
Okay, another question I have is about China.
Yes, sir.
Can you give two indicators establishing that Chinese economy is on the downhill? It may not be, I may not be right, it may be uphill. But are there two indicators in your mind?
Sir, number one was there was a recent report of China reporting very underwhelming growth rate of 2%. So the growth rate has reduced.
That is the final outcome.
Yes, sir.
But indicators are?
So there was also the real estate prices crashing down. There was news of that in the recent past.
Correct. Can you name one or two real estate company? One went bankrupt and other has really, their bonds have not sold. Okay, don't bother. That is one. And any other reason? Any other indicator in your mind? Okay, you can read about it. What is Meiji Revolution in the context of Japan?
Sir, Meiji Restoration primarily revolved around industrialization of Japan, where rapid industrialization in Japan took place through, it was private-led investment only, but it was supported by steep tax rate cuts.
What else was done? What was
Sir,
the prominent feature of that restoration?
Sir, they made also an effort to skill their population, so they would sponsor their population going abroad and studying Western industry.
Exactly. And why it is known as restoration, Meiji Restoration? What is Meiji?
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, you can read. Okay. This is the end of your interview, and now there's a feedback we would like to share with you.
Yes.
One is that this copy of the video will be shared with you, and you go through it very carefully. We find you a very good candidate. You have a good personality, good expression. Your English has a good fluency. So that is a very good natural advantage that you carry. We have not asked you anything about your Telugu origin.
Okay.
But there may be some questions about Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Do you belong to Telangana part, or your father belongs to
Andhra Pradesh part, sir.
Andhra Pradesh part, coastal Andhra?
No, sir, inland only.
Achha.
Polavaram Dam.
Polavaram Dam.
Yes, sir. So that is from there, Polavaram.
Achha. West Godavari, is it?
Yes, sir.
West Godavari.
Very fertile area.
Yes.
Very fertile area. Rice and lot of it's a very fertile area of Andhra. Good. So there may be some questions there. As such, we are recommending that when your date is announced, is it announced already?
Yes, sir. 12th of December, sir.
Oh, very close. 12th of December is very close. So anyway, if it is 12th December, today being 7th, we would strongly suggest, and you are on a very sound footing, not on a weak standing, whatever you have prepared already, make bullet points if possible and revise them thoroughly. And you have the real understanding of things. You already are in a good position, and you have worked in some startups.
Yes, sir.
So, how many startups really went more than a billion unicorn, how many startups became unicorns, and what is happening to startups of late.
Okay.
Just keep it in.
Okay, sir.
You have to take care of physics, chemistry, maths also,
Okay.
in addition to economics.
Yes, sir.
And it's very good that you took up economics, because as such economics is supposed to be a very low scoring subject, but a difficult subject, but you have taken it. That's a very good point. So physics, chemistry, maths also, things like recently something happened about gravitational waves.
Mm-hmm.
Then Einstein,
Right, sir.
special theory of relativity, general theory of relativity, E is equal to mc square, fusion, and that recently film had come based on Oppenheimer.
Right, sir.
So all these become relevant. Then space sciences issues
Mm-hmm.
and like.
Right, sir.
So on these issues, you do prepare, and on China also you have some background. So, and Chinese manufacture, sector
Mm-hmm.
is important for the whole globe.
Right, sir.
So, what is happening to that? How is Europe reacting to that? How is US reacting to that? How are we affected?
Right.
Why we have a deficit of $100 billion
Right.
between us and China, and how it can be improved? So that is the other area, which is then these latest area of Trump's
Mm.
tariffs,
Right, sir.
how it has antagonized many countries, including their best
Mm.
partners like those from Western Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Then Brazil is not happy with him. Maduro from Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
Well, couple of points. You have a lot of achievements to your credit, very good academic background. You are fairly confident, you speak well, fluent,
Yes, sir.
little bit of smile,
Yes, sir. Right.
You need to show that you have a relaxed personality,
Yes.
especially if you are so well accomplished.
Yeah.
Economics is the flavor of the season now.
Yes, sir.
India's problem, global problem,
Right, sir.
and sometimes you have to simplify it.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Perhaps you know too much.
Okay.
Be careful,
Yes, sir.
because you're already working as consultant
Yes, sir.
and the habit of giving long, analysis.
Right,
You
sir.
have to make it like a layman.
Okay, sir.
Do have a look at, the other side,
Okay.
economic diplomacy, what it is. Because India's emphasis on diplomacy, but economics,
Right, sir.
your definition was not quite proper.
Okay, sir.
I think you read on that.
Right, sir.
All right.
Right, sir.
Because Indian diplomacy is now focused on economics,
Yes, sir.
the tariff, and I think a lot of questions will come. But at the same time, India and its neighborhood, because it's such a volatile area now,
Mm-hmm.
it impacts India's national interest directly.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't escape those issues.
Right, sir.
Some issues will come up for discussion.
Mm.
And you have to have very nuanced, sharp understanding.
Right.
Generalized answers will undo your whole effort.
Right, sir.
All right. So the thing is to prepare. Now you don't have much time,
Mm-hmm.
but within this time,
Mm-hmm.
one is to assess it, read the paper thoroughly,
Yes, sir.
so that small points you may not miss,
Right, sir.
especially in relation to India, Pakistan, and what is happening.
Right, sir.
Key points. So what happens if you make bullet points?
Mm-hmm.
You will know exactly what is the point
Right.
to say.
Right, sir.
All right.
Okay, sir.
You do that. Read your newspapers, and also you are highlighting. Parliament. A lot of questions can come.
Right, sir.
Parliamentary deadlock, problems.
Right, sir.
All right. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
On the whole, you have done quite well.
Right, sir.
You are quite experienced. You've been working.
Yes, sir.
Your answers are good.
Mm.
Your confidence level is good.
Right, sir.
As you said, with a little bit of smile.
Yes.
And some current affairs, being brushed up before your interview.
Right.
Especially the events which are happening,
Mhm.
important events. Putin is there, Indigo is there.
Mm-hmm.
RBI is there. RBI is very important for you. You being an economics background,
Right, sir.
banking industry, tariffs.
Mhm.
That's it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'm quite impressed with your performance.
Yes, sir.
The only thing is that you look a bit grim, so you'll have to take care of that. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Right, sir.
And you will have to discard your pair of shoes.
Yes,
But
sir.
in case if you do,
Mhm.
so for the sake of circular economy, you can gift it to me. So
Okay.
I thought that saw Charlie Chaplin wearing this pair of shoes. I always am looking for the pair like this.
Okay.
Change it, okay, a little more formal one. And the one last thing, it's not important for other candidates for Goldilocks economy that you wanted to say. You should know that. Who knows that it may crop up. So
Okay.
the predictable, the fiscal and monetary policy. So they should be in harmony and that should be predictable. Second thing is the low and stable inflation and the GDP growth is considerably high. So when this balancing happens, then for the economists, it becomes the Goldilocks. Otherwise, it's a fable. Young girl and the three bears and how she goes there, how that story is different. But in economic sense, this is the three things that matters.
Right, sir.
It may crop up in an interview. So
Yes, sir.
isko theek se padh.
जी, जी,
ठीक है?
sir.
You were doing very well.
Okay, sir.
Nearly look like that you are going to make it.
Thank you, sir.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Your father comes from Andhra, so do recall the days of partition when these two states were separated.
Right, sir.
Then what is the distinction between various indicators between Telangana and Andhra? Andhra is supposed to be richer and more prosperous and all. So do recall those things. And there was a Andhraite who had committed self-immolation.
Poti Shri Ramalu, sir.
Ramalu.
Yes, sir.
So then T.N. Ramarao is a pioneer in a filmy personalities going into politics
Yes, sir.
after Tamil Nadu person. So that you then how are the prawns, freshwater prawns, which are grown in Andhra? How have they fared after Trump's tariffs? Okay, most of them were exported to US.
Yes, sir.
Take care of that. You want to ask anything from the board?
Nothing, sir. Nothing.
Okay. All the best to you.
Thank you very much.
Have a
sir.
good time
Thank you,
and
sir.
good luck.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.